Here to help us unpack it all, we've got the best. Former Dallas Fed advisor and Quill Intelligence CEO Danielle DiMartino Booth, former investment banker Carol Roth, Point Bridge Capital and MAGA Fund founder Hal Lambert, and Oxbow Advisors managing partner Ted Oakley. Ted, the one thing that is crystal clear is that Jay Powell is determined to keep the expansion going. And because of that, we're in unusual circumstances to have an expansion this long in the tooth and still have rates at this low of a level and maybe going even lower. What do you make of all of that?
Well, I think, Charles, the problem he will have is in the next 2 to 3 quarters in the market itself. I'm talking about the stock market because I think the numbers are going to be under pressure. And let's face it, you know, they look a lot at the market, too. And I think that's one of the things they probably misinterpret here. And unfortunately, we felt like they were behind the curve the last nine months. And I think they'll still be behind until it finally just squares right in front of their face and they have to do something.
Behind the curve with respect to by hiking rates or not?
Yeah. Well, both. I mean, they hiked too far, let's say 2 times too far. But on the other hand, they seem to be particularly cognizant of how they look or something. There's something about the way they do things, which, you know, if you know you've erred possibly, look at the bond markets in December, then, you know, you would come back the other way. But I think now what has to happen is they'll be driven to the wall by this.
Is that this is a different Fed that's not worked, that no longer, if I'm reading Powell the way I've read him, is that he's not going to go traditionally and wait for the house to be on fire. In other words, they will be lowering rates even during a good economy.
Clarida keeps saying that. Brainerd keeps saying that.
Ted,
Powell won't say that.
Ted, you know, listen, Clarida seems to have said that, you know, we're going to take these unconventional tools and make them conventional. Powell sort of echoed that. Remember, Powell's saying our goal right now is to sustain the expansion, not to let it fall apart and repair it, but to sustain it. He does not want a recession on his watch.
Well, no, he doesn't. I think one of the things I was bothered by last week, the week before in Chicago, was he mentioned about the zero bound and that sort of looking. You know, he doesn't have far to go here. When you're going from 2.5 down to 0, it takes you get there quickly. And I think the problem he had, at least for us, is that when he came in, he said, hey, we're going to take this thing back to normal. And that didn't happen at all. As soon as he had weakness, you know, he cut and ran. And so I'm not certain we know exactly which way he'll go, but I think he walks the fence on everything right now.
Danielle, Carol, Hal, Ted, again, the Federal Reserve, no rate cut, but some interesting language, sending, again, mixed signals. So if Jerome Powell's goal today was to set the record straight, he's got a lot of work to do. Now, remember, he's going to hold a news conference in a few minutes.